a top U.S. Army official underscored in comments made public Friday the importance of developing and deploying new weapons systems that can potentially break Chinese defenses and securing the Indo-Pacific through robust partnerships in the region. That can sink ships, said the Army's Chief of Staff, General James McConville, in a discussion streamed by the Washington-based Center for Strategic and International Studies. U.S. think that's very, very important for the anti-access area denial capabilities that U.S. may face, and this referring to the strategy known as A2AD for short. Long-range precision fires, such as hypersonic missiles, and tactical fires with extended range as priority areas. McConville certainly want to bring to the national leadership options that they can use if required for an anti-access area denial capability. McConville confirmed that tests of hypersonic missiles in effect, America's fastest long-range weapons, have been successful. Experts say deploying all these missiles would be to combat Beijing's A2AD strategy in the South China Sea, which combines ships, missiles and sensors to keep adversaries from approaching China. If the People's Liberation Army conducts operations to take Taiwan by force, for example, then the first island chain comprising Japan's main islands, Okinawa, Taiwan, the northern Philippines and the Malay Peninsula, would be a strategic line of defense for China. By China and Russia is designed to complicate the U.S. projection of power and the combined operations of the U.S. and its closest allies like Japan, said Tom Caraco, a senior fellow at CSIS. It is targeted to drive a wedge between the U.S. and its allies. Regarding McConville's statement, Caraco said what is important is that he is reaffirming that the U.S. is sticking to its strategy of deploying strategic and operational and tactical weapons to counter these programs. Scholars Stephen Biddle and Ivan Olerich foresaw the A2AD situation in a 2016 article for the journal International Security. Many analysts worry that improvements in Chinese missile, sensor, guidance, and other technologies will enable China to deny the U.S. military access to parts of the Western Pacific that the United States has long controlled, they wrote. The United States will possess a sphere of influence around Allied landmasses, China will maintain a sphere of influence over its own mainland, and a contested battlespace will cover much of the South and East China Seas wherein neither power enjoys wartime freedom of surface or air movement. Recent events, and McConville's assertions, confirm such predictions. McConville said securing the area will depend on strong U.S. partnerships with countries in the first island chain and noted the importance of standing defense agreements with Australia, Japan, New Zealand, South Korea, the Philippines and Thailand. He was also eager for more alliances and hoped to forge a defense partnership with India. Region, and adding it in a defense partnership would be very helpful for regional stability and security, McConville said. But despite the recent heightening of regional tensions as both the U.S. and China flex their military muscle via exercises, the American general urged caution. Power competition does not mean that there's a great power conflict, McConville said. He suggests all need to work to avoid that type of thing. But at the same time, many of these countries, they do want a free and open Indo-Pacific because they need to have access for economic reasons. What they're interested in is really security and stability in the region. Meanwhile, could a small clash, incident, or brief exchange of fire between American and Chinese forces in the South China Sea quickly lead to a dangerous all-out war? Many experts, observers and officials seem to share the concern, given the rapid escalation of hostility between the two major superpowers. launches military provocations to challenge the bottom line of China's national security and sovereignty, China will make immediate and effective retaliations. While this may, in some respects, seem like somewhat of an obvious statement, it does introduce the prospect of a major war, perhaps beginning with only a small incident. The possibility of small and medium-sized clashes, which could involve ship collisions and occasional firing incidents, is rising. Could a small clash occur? The highly unlikely possibility that the U.S. might attack some of China's claimed phony island territory in the South China Sea. While unlikely, Chinese moves to place weapons in sensitive areas of the South China Sea island chain might make that kind of consideration somewhat realistic, given the proximity of the threat they would introduce. However, some kind of intercept, false move or misinterpreted training exercise could easily spark some kind of exchange of fire. Both the America and China have been massively ratcheting up surveillance plane operations, aircraft carrier attack drills, training operations and bomber patrols in close proximity to one another. This increases the likelihood of actions being misunderstood or intentions being misread. Perhaps Chinese fighter jets and surveillance drones operating near or over Taiwan might appear to be closing in for an attack, therefore prompting ground commanders to fire air defenses. Whereas the boundary between peaceful training operations, harmless patrols and severe military provocation. Should that line be tenuous in any way, major catastrophic war could erupt. Flip side, what if a U.S. Navy destroyer conducts a freedom of navigation exercise in the South China Sea and sails within the 12-mile territorial boundary of island areas claimed by China and China fires missiles at the U.S. ship? If the shots fired are even warning shots, they could lead to disproportionate retaliation. In terms of pure statistics, increasing the number of patrols, surveillance operations and attack drills near one another simply raises the probability of some kind of hostile encounter. The big question is this: would either major power exercise the much-needed restraint necessary to stop a war in the event of small engagement? One would think the price of major warfare would simply be far too high for both countries, but that does not mean it could not happen.